James, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
I'm doing great, man. I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm in Maui on my honeymoon with my wife, and yeah, so no complaints these days.
Well, you're on your honeymoon. Well, congratulations. Where are you guys at?
We were in Kauai last week, and we're in Maui for a few days.
Wow, I haven't been there. Is it nice?
Oh my God, it's beautiful. It's just perfect. I've got in my view the ocean with some green mountains and a beautiful sky, and it's paradise.
Well, listen, Brian, I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule, and especially while you're on your honeymoon, to talk about your movie. Thanks so much for doing that.
Oh, no problem. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to be even to tell my story. So I was delighted to hear that wanted to interview me.
Well, definitely. I mean, I'm a big horror fan, and I heard about ClownTown for the past couple of months. I just recently got a chance to review it, so had the opportunity to give you guys an interview and give a shout out. I couldn't pass that up. The movie itself comes out on video on demand September 30th and DVD October 4th from ITN Distribution. Can you tell our listeners a little about the movie?
From the start, it's a story about, you've got these characters and they're kind of going out on a little journey to a country film festival or a film concert, and it's that typical situation where somebody gets a little excited, I guess, and the character Jill, she leaves her phone behind, and next thing you know, they get caught up in a deserted town that's been overrun by some psychopathic killer clowns, and it's exciting. It's nothing but exciting. Yeah, the viewers, I think, what they like about it is that the characters are always on the move. To me, it feels like there's no moment. Sometimes in movies, it feels like, what's happening, what's going to happen, and it's just, the characters are always moving from one point to the next. So I think it keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Well, there are a lot of people in the world today who suffer from coulrophobia, a fear of clowns. Even just looking at a photo of one is enough to make them lose control. Do you, or did you ever have a fear of clowns, especially when you were younger?
Well, when I was younger, I don't think I did. I never had any negative experiences with them. I conceptualized the idea that, when it comes to clowns, we felt that people have strong opinions of them. You can say, about certain things, people, they don't care one way or the other, but we felt that clowns had a strong opinions from people. And so that really was what geared us to kind of take our story in that direction. And I guess, for me personally, over the years, I've kind of caught on that. I guess I've jumped on that boat, so to speak, and clowns have just kind of creeped me. So when we conceptualized the idea, it brought a lot of excitement to me, because as I've gotten older, I've kind of found that there's some freaking creepiness to clowns, and it can be diagnosed in so many different ways.
You're absolutely right there. I mean, my wife is she just won't look at a clown, and she saw it, many, many years ago, and ever since it's just had an effect on her. So yeah, but like you said, you kind of hit a chord there, because there are a lot of people out there who just have a fear, just can't stand to look at clowns. Do you know if any of the other actors in the movie had any kind of a fear of them?
It's funny that you asked, because our other lead actress, Katie Keene, when we were auditioning her, she had such a great audition, so thrilled about that, of course. But come to find out, through the casting process and getting to know her better, she was actually terrified of clowns. Looking around on set, we'd be having our lunch break or whatever, and it was so funny, because literally the first week on, she was just uncomfortable if the clowns were around. We'd be sitting in the makeup checks for the clowns, and you could just tell that she had a natural fear. So her coulrophobia is 100% for real.
Well, when Kane Hodder played Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th movies, he claimed he always kept his distance from the other actors behind the scenes, saying that he felt being unsociable would help the actors with their performances if they didn't know him too well. Did any of the actors who played the clowns in your movie adopt the same approach, or did everyone get along with each other?
I think everybody got along with each other. We had a really good camaraderie, but I think that there was definitely kind of that vibe that, when it was so to speak, go time on set. A half hour before we were shooting, there was some separation for sure. And,
right.
The clowns were over doing their thing, and us actors were kind of prepping for ours. And so when we weren't shooting, it was still, if you're walking down the hallway and you see our master of a baseball clown or the crowbar clown walking down towards you,
right.
so you know that guy, it was still, you're like, the hair on your neck just kind of stood up a little bit like, am I okay? It's real,
right.
So there was definitely that energy. David Greathouse and Ryan Pills and Chris Hahn, our clowns. Those guys did a fast up, and I think they just all did such a great job of just protruding that creepy psychopath. Like they just, and when we weren't shooting, it was fun. They'd over there and give you a weird look, and you get creeped out. You didn't want to look at them. It was definitely very real, Sometimes too real.
Yeah, you didn't want to make eye contact with them.
Yeah.
Some actors claim that working with a family member or spouse on a film can be a stressful experience. And in the case of ClownTown, as you mentioned, your brother Tom directed it. How was it for both of you working together?
Of course, there were some challenges, and I feel like as an actor, my brother is a little bit harder on me than he would be with other actors. So I think that presented some challenges, but him and I have been working together with our production company for, I think, over 4 years now, and we've always had a really awesome relationship. So we've always considered each other best friends, and always had a great working relationship. And I think that there's a mutual level of respect where it wasn't, it was never I'm the director and this is my way. He always has, respected my opinion and my thoughts and my ideas. I think ultimately it was an incredible experience. But what a lot of people also don't know is we actually had a couple of our other family members involved in the film. My aunt and uncle, Greg Violin, who plays kind of like the homeless guy in the film, and then my Aunt Mary Ann, who plays the mother of the clowns. They've been professional actors for, I think, over 35 or 40 years. I don't want to age them too much, but they're incredible people. So, it's a dream come true to create something and to create it with your family and with your aunt and uncle. It's so weird because for years, you come up with these ideas and you're like, oh, it would be so cool to do this one day. Yeah. And then, I look at myself today and think, wow, I made a dream come true. And, and I know that it was my aunt and uncle, it was always their dream come true. And it was also, as far as my brother and I, it's always been our dream to build what we want in life together, because we know that, we feel that we're stronger together than we are by ourselves, I guess.
Right. As well as starring in the movie, you're also credited as an executive producer. Did that title allow you any additional control or input into the film that as an actor you normally wouldn't have had?
Tom and I had met with Jeff Miller, one of our other executive, he's our lead executive producer. We had teamed up with him and we had conceptualized the story. We thought, okay, well, let's have these characters go here, let's have this happen. And it was just it's hard to explain my experience, I guess, because it was 1 minute I was the executive producer, but at the same time I was also producing, and at the same time, being an actor. So I had several different hats in this film to wear,
right.
Which was a unique opportunity and also a unique challenge. But I don't think that, there was ever a time when I felt like, hey, you know what, I need to pull the EP card and say, well, I'm an EP, I got to have this or I got to do this. Or it was like I said before, when I had worked with Tom, working with the other executive producers, there was a lot of mutual respect. And ultimately, I think all the decisions that were made throughout the process, from story to producing, to shooting, to editing, to post-production, to everything. It was all about what was best for the story, what was best for the film. I don't really think that there was many egos that were trying to get in the way, and, that's the type of person that I want to be. I want people to respect me for who I am, not because I put money or, some other things into the film. Ultimately, I want to tell a story, and I want to tell it the best way that we can. It was awesome. This was part of my dream was, is to obviously to get my stories out there and to be an actor, more so in the spotlight, I guess. And to me, the route that I'm taking is that some of the work that I've done in previous years, I'm trying to reinvest in myself and my stories, and so it's cool. But no, as far as your question goes, I don't think that in particular. I guess there was never a need to be like, hey, this has to go this way. So.
Right. Well, terrific. Okay, well, folks, today I was speaking with actor and producer Brian Nagel. He is the star of the upcoming horror thriller ClownTown, which arrives on video on demand September 30th and on DVD October 4th from ITN Distribution. Brian, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us, and the best of luck with your career.
Thanks, James. I appreciate you. I appreciate all your listeners, and wish the best of luck to you guys, and I hope I hear from you guys again soon.
Oh, definitely, and enjoy the rest of your honeymoon.
All right. Thank you, sir.